So things are quiet right now, and I wanted to come up with a car restoration project to last through the winter. And I considered everything from old Triumph two-seaters to late 60s muscle cars. But I had a lot of fun restoring this 97 Defender. And so I thought I'd stay in the Land Rover lane a little bit longer. I've always liked those early first generation Range Rover Classics. That's that body style that goes all the way back to 1970. So I want to find one of those and do a YouTube series to document all of the work. And first things first, I need to find a good example. So one thing's for sure when it comes to any older vehicle, but especially Land Rovers, is you could just go buy one, or you could buy two Range Rover Classics. So I've bought two vehicles. They're both 94. They're both the same spec, same engine. They were probably on the assembly line within the same month or two back in 1994 in England. So here's the story about each one. The black one is 200,000 miles, and as you can see, the paint is a little bit tired, but it's very good in the way of rust. It's very little rust. The frame and the body, great shape. It's called cream. Might look white on camera, but it's called Cornish cream. It's also a 94. It's only got 135,000 miles versus 200, and it's got a beautiful finish. If you look at that paint job, this could go back on the road today without being repainted, and it'd be beautiful. So if you stop right there, you would conclude, hey, this is the one to restore. And this could be a donor car or something like that. But actually, it's the other way around. This black vehicle has a clean title, and it runs well. This cream vehicle runs well. It's got a salvage title. This Range Rover was stolen in Southern California. It's a one-owner car with, it's always been in Southern California. That's why it's in great shape. But it was stolen, and somebody stole the back leather seats, the stereo, various parts out of the interior, enough that from an insurance standpoint, it would cost more to replace those parts than it was worth at the time. So it's got a salvage title. It was actually considered a total loss, even though it's fantastic. So I'm actually going to use this vehicle as a donor. And the idea is to migrate all of the great parts, mostly mechanical parts, over to the black vehicle. So that is the plan. I'm going to do a frame-off restoration of this. I'll document all that on camera, and I'll have it repainted. This will be a beautiful example of a 94 Range Rover Classic in Beluga Black when it's done. So that's the plan, and I'll document everything, and it will be a great result. For those of you that like a little bit more backstory, this black vehicle was locally owned in the Virginia market where I live, and it was owned by the CEO of an accounting firm. And it actually sat for 11 years undriven, and it was bought by another fellow that I got it from, and he has his own YouTube channel. So it's called Doug's Cars, and I'll put a link to his YouTube channel in the description of this video. But he did a good job. He has a lot of videos, a lot of car videos, but he did commit a number of those videos to this vehicle when he took it out of storage and got it up and running. So if you're interested in that type of material, go look at his YouTube channel, and you'll see a lot of images of this black vehicle when it was off the road, and then as he got it back up and running before I bought it from him. So yeah, the body came off great. It wasn't easy. It was a lot of work, but I'll make a list on the screen of all the things that needed to be unhooked to complete the separation. So here's the frame, chassis. So I'm very pleased with the lack of rust. There's a little bit of surface rust, but that's all it is. Structurally, it's excellent. So I've got this hammer. So, you know, you look here and you see a little bit of surface rust, but this is all, there's nothing. There are no holes. There are no compromises to this frame. It is good. It's going to clean up after I power wash it. I don't need to cut out and remove and replace anything. Cleaned up really well, no surprises. So here's the setup. Of course, I want to take out the engine and transmission from the frame, and I've got the lift positioned on the pickup points. Plus, I want to do it all together as one unit. So I've got it strapped to the back of the transmission at the transfer case. The problem is, or the issue with my location here is my driveway is sloped, and you can't really probably tell that on the camera, but there's a little bit of slope going up into the garage. So I may not be able to pull that hoist up that slight hill with all that weight on it. So I've got this strap that comes back here, and I've got it strapped to my lift post. So using that ratchet strap, I don't have a come along, using that ratchet strap and a little bit of pulling and chocking, I should be able to get this lift with the engine and transmission up over this apron and get it into the garage. I'll take some pics. Well, that was a total pain, but it worked. It was really good that I did the ratchet strap to the lift, because even though that's such a small grade and it's paved, it's with all this weight, it's still a massive commitment to get that lift with these little steel wheels over that, up that little grade of that apron. So after looking over the frame more carefully, I decided media blasting was an overkill, and instead I'm just going to go over the frame with a wire wheel on an angle grinder. Alright, so the chassis cleaned up well with the wire wheel. It's almost ready for primer and paint. I'll probably do a little bit more cleaning or degreasing, but it's very close. So I want to get it into the garage. Here's the problem. The chassis sits outside the garage, and what I want to do is have it in this bay. The idea is I've got a winch that I bought years ago. I've never installed it. So it's meant to mount to a bumper, and but it's never been installed. It needs to be mounted to something. So I mounted it to this 4x4. I'm going to brace that 4x4 in this doorway opening. So that 4x4 will span that opening, and then the winch will be solidly mounted, and I'll pull the winch cable out and grab the front of that chassis, and then I can spin the back wheels around using those dollies and then winch this thing into this bay. So that's the plan. Should work. I'll get Ruth to spot me, and I'm sure it'll be just fine. Here are all the products that just came in the mail today. If I need it, I probably will in spots. I've got some, this is all from Eastwood, by the way, some pre-painting prep. It's just a solvent that leaves no residue. I've got a couple of cans of primer, and then inside frame rail paint. I've done this before I did it on the Defender, and I've done it on some other vehicles where these cans have a coil, a hose, that I can stick in any one of these holes that I want to, and you spray and you pull it out. That's what she said. And it'll paint a section on the inside. It's got a multi-directional tip on those, so I'll do a good job of painting the inside of these frame rails, and then 4 cans of chassis black. So having the frame painted is a big milestone, and I use milestones to keep myself motivated. Like if I could just get the body off the frame, if I could just get the engine out, if I could just get the frame painted, these things make me feel good and keep my motivation up. But another thing about motivation, certainly I do like these vehicles, and I look forward to the final build of this. It's going to be a cool thing to have. It's a great sense of accomplishment too for this work. But it's also wintertime right now, and we're in the midst of the whole COVID thing. It's 2020, and so we're all kind of spending more time at home and locked down, and so this gives me something to focus on and to apply my skills, and it keeps me energized, and I also like to learn. So this project has a lot of skills required, and I've done everything before. I've done welding, I've done body work, I've done engine work. But hey, you can always get better at these things, and I'm enjoying improving my skills as a result of this project. Well, that's a wrap for episode 1. In episode 2, I'll be using things like this and this to cut out and replace rust like this. See you then.